What's up YouTube, Day of wargames, bringing you a different kind of video today. So today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be walking you through the 19 of 20 Link Vrains Link monsters that we have officially had leaked or released. So the Link Vrains pack is basically a pack that's coming out for the 25th of November for the OCG. It's yet to be confirmed exactly when we'll get it, but it does revive quite a lot of art types and brings them forward into the new Link format with stuff like Shadows, Mermails, Cleaforts, Burning Abyss, Gem Knights, absolutely everything. So the names themselves aren't 100% set in English, but the chances are they probably will be that name. And what I'll do is I'll take you through what the cards are, I'll show you each of them, I'll talk you through their link markers, how many it kind of takes, and their effects. So without further ado, we'll start off with our first one, which will be Perpetual King Archfiend. So obviously, as you can see here, he is a monster, dark, fiend, link, and effect monster. His link arrows are bottom left, bottom right. Attack of 2000, and he's a link 2. He requires 2 fiend monsters. So once per turn during your standby phase, you pay 500 life points or destroy this card, exactly the same as all the other chess archfiends. Once per chain, if you pay life points, you can send 1 fiend monster from your deck to the graveyard whose attack or defense is equal to the life points paid. Once per chain, if a fiend monster or monsters is sent to the graveyard, you can roll a 6-sided die and apply the results to one of those monsters. Number 1, add it to your hand. 2 to 5, shuffle it into the deck, or 6, special summon it. The artwork is really nice, and it's kind of a nice generic link monster for fiends, but on top of that, more for the archfiends themselves. Very good card, very cool card, and you know, thoroughly I really like the look of it, and it's nice that chess archfiends are getting a new edition. Next up, we have the new Gladiator Beast. So Gladiator Beast Draxius. It's a monster, wing beast, link effect. Its bottom left and bottom right are its arrow markers. It's 2000 attack with 2 as its link monsters, and it requires 2 gladiator beasts. So it's not generic like the last one with Perpetual King Archfiend. If your glad beast monster attacks, it cannot be destroyed by that battle. Also, your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated until the end of the damage step, which is really nice for glad beasts. At the end of the battle phase, if this card battled, you can return it to the extra deck. Special summon 2 Glad Beast monsters with different names from your deck. You can only use this effect of Glad Beast Draculus once per turn. So very nice card for Glad Beasts. Obviously go pick them up while you can. Our next one is the Light Swarm. This is really strong for Light Swarm. So it's Krios, Dominion of the Light Swarm. It's a light warrior, link free, and its link markers are bottom left, top and bottom right. Its attack is 2400 and it is a link free. It requires 3 monsters with the same attribute but different types, which is exactly what Light Swarms are. But it's a bit more generic because obviously you can make this in other decks, unlike the Glad Beast one. So, if this face-up card is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect while its owner controls it, you can target 1 card in your graveyard and add it to your hand, so it's a nice little recycler. You can only use each of the following effects of Krios once per turn. If this card is link summoned, you can send 1 card from your deck to the graveyard, so that kind of gets your wolves going. If a card or cards is sent from the deck to the graveyard by a card effect, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. So it's like a 4-card mill, which in Light Swarm Zombies is absolutely disgusting and incredibly powerful. Our 4th monster on the list is Gem Knight Phantom Core. Really nice. This is one of the more recent released ones. It's a monster, earth, rock link effect. It's bottom left and bottom right for its link zones. Its attack is 1450 and it requires 2 gem monsters. So obviously it's more specific than, of course, Krios and the Perpetual King Archfiend. If this card is link summoned, you can add 1 Gem Knight card from your deck to your hand. You pay 1000 life points, fusion summon 1 Gem Knight fusion monster from your extra deck by shuffling your fusion materials listed on it that are banished or in your graveyard into your deck, but it cannot attack directly this turn. You can only use each effect of Gem Knight Phantom Core once per turn. So it's very nice in the sense that if you've already got your, on a later game kind of sense, if you've already got your Gem Knights in graveyard, you can shuffle them back and go again. But it is quite more specific for Gem Knights. It definitely takes Gem Knights to a whole new level and brings them back into the link age that we are now, and it kind of lets you go with that. Also on the plus side, it does mean that there is a Gem Knight Seraphonite reprint in the set as well. Next up, a good old Insector Pico Frenea. Apologise if I brutalise that. So it's nice to see Insectors getting a bit of support as well. It's a dark insect link. This might mean that some of their cards might shift off the ban list. Its link arrows are bottom left and bottom right. 1000 attack, link 2, and it requires 2 insect monsters, so it's slightly generic in the sense that it can be worked with the insect monsters. And its effect reads as thus: if this card is link summoned, you can discard 1 card, then target 1 other insect monster you control. Equip 1 insect monster from your deck to it as an equipped card with this effect. The equipped monster gains 500 attack and defense. You can target 3 insect monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, then draw 1 card. You can only use the effect of Insecta Pico Fenaria once per turn. So it's a nice little recycler, Degusta Emerald for the deck itself, and lets you play around a bit more. Next up, we've got Heretic Seal of the Celestial Spheres. Really nice artwork. It's a light dragon, link 2, bottom left and bottom right, and it's got 0 attack, so that's the one dangerous thing about it, but it requires 2 dragon monsters. Once per opponent's turn, if this card is in the extra monster zone, quick effect, you attribute 1 monster from your hand or field. Return 1 face-up card on the field to the hand. If this card is tributed, special summon 1 dragon monster from your hand or deck, but its attack and defense becomes 0. You can only use this effect of Heretic Seal of Celestial Spheres once per turn. So, it basically lets you tribute from your hand or field, and then you get to return 1 card, 1 face-up card on the field to the hand. So it's a nice little compulse for your opponent's turn. And then you can tribute it. If this card is tributed, you get to special summon a dragon monster from your hand or deck. So it can kind of work in Blue Eyes in a sense as well. But obviously in Heretics, it's going to be the most Dominion. Okay, so our next one is Crowley, the Origin of Prophecy. So the artwork was really nice. This is, of course, the Spellbook's kind of new link monster. It is a spellcaster, and it has bottom left and bottom right, and it requires 2 spellcast type monsters, so it's again slightly generic. 1000 attack. If this card is link summoned, you can reveal 3 Spellbook cards with different names from your deck. Your opponent randomly picks 1 for you to add to your hand, and you shuffle the rest back into your deck. You can only use this effect of Crowley, the Origin of Prophecy, once per turn. Each turn, 1 level 5 or higher spellcaster type monster you normal summon can be summoned without tributing. So it's a very, very nice kind of play. You could probably take this out in Dark Magicians. The only thing with Dark Magicians in this is you would probably have to up your Spellbook of Magician of Prophecy kind of plays, the Blue Boy, just to kind of make his effect more consistent. But it does also mean that you can bring it out. If you were to use the Wind Witch engine, for example, you could use the Wind Witch engine, go into this guy using 2 of your spellcasters, reveal your spellbooks, add 1 of them to hand. No matter what one you add, you're going to get a +2 off of it. And then on top of that, if you have a Dark Magician in hand, you can normal summon it without tributing. So it's a very, very nice kind of speed play that kind of gets you going a bit more in obviously spellcasters and of course spellbooks. Our next one on the list is Fresh Madolche Sistart. You know, Donald's going to be happy with this one in a slight sense. It is an Earth, it's Fairy, its link markers are bottom left and bottom right, it's 1500 attack and a link 2. This is specific for Madolches as it requires 2 Madolche monsters. While this card points to a Madolche monster, Madolche spell and trap cards you control cannot be destroyed by card effects, which is really, really nice because you do try to take out their ticket and of course their chateau. Also, neither player can target them with card effects. If this card on the field would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can shuffle 1 Madolche monster from your graveyard into your deck instead. Now, it's a 2-edged sword because sometimes the way you want to play Madolches is you already shuffling them back into deck with tickets and, of course, chateau. But this card obviously can help maintain itself, and it gives them a good first turn kind of board play in the sense. Next up, we are going on to the Mermail Abyss Alicia. Sorry, a bit of a stutter there. So it is a water, of course, sea serpent. Its link markers are bottom left and bottom right, and it is a 2 link monster. It is 1600 attack. It requires 2 fish, sea serpent, and/or aqua monsters, which is really, really cool. Monsters this card points to gain 500 attack and defense. You can only use each of the following effects of Mermail Abyss Alicia once per turn. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, add 1 Mermail monster from your deck to your hand. If this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's attack or card effect, you can send 1 water monster from your deck to your graveyard. Then target 1 water monster in your graveyard and special summon it in defense position. So it's a nice little recycler for the deck, and of course helps flood the graves, send the graves, get Mermail's effects off, search it, make it a bit more consistent. Next one is our Isodial Reminiscence of the Noble Knights. So this artwork actually is really, really nice. Light warrior, bottom left and bottom right link markers, 1600 attack, and it requires 2 warrior monsters, so it is slightly generic. But obviously its effect is more specific. If this card is link summoned, you can add 1 warrior monster from your deck to your hand, but you cannot normal summon, set, special summon, or activate the effects of monsters with the name for the rest of this turn, which is a shame because it could have worked nicely in Satella Knights. You can send any number of equipped spell cards with different names from your deck to the graveyard, special summon 1 warrior monster from your deck, whose level equals the number of cards sent to activate this effect. You can only use each effect of Isodial Inspiration of the Noble Knights once per turn. So again, really, really nice card, helps out massively in the kind of warrior decks, but obviously more specific for Noble Knights. And then this one, Shadow Construct, slightly disappointing. In my personal opinion. It's nice, don't get me wrong, really, really nice card, but the only good thing that can come from this is if they bring back Construct for us. Anyway, so it is a monster light fairy. Its markers are left and right. It is a 1200 attack with a 2 flip monster cost as its materials. During your main phase, you can fusion summon 1 Shadow fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials. If this card is in your graveyard, you can send 1 Shadow card from your hand or face up from the field to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon this card. You can only use each effect of Shadow Construct once per turn. So it's very, very nice, and you can see that if El Shadow Construct comes back, it would be so much more better, like incredibly powerful. So fingers crossed the TCG do get Construct back, which would be really, really nice. Next up, Kleehor Genesis, Earth Machine, bottom left and bottom right, attack of 1800, and it requires 2 machine monsters. This link summon card is unaffected by spell and trap card effects and by activated effects from other link monsters, which is really, really nice, gives you a bit of protection. Once per turn, you can target 1 other face-up card you control and 1 face-up card your opponent controls. Both cards have their effects negated until the end of this turn. When 2 monsters are special summoned at the same time to the zones this card points to, you can add 1 level 5 or higher machine monster from your deck to your hand. So if you don't get to search out Scout, this will do it for you, and the artwork again is really, really nice. Obviously the whole art type of the way it combines Infernoids and Kleeforts, Shadows, and kind of goes that way. Okay, so our next one is Ritual Beast, Ulti Falcos? Ritual Beast, Ulti Falcos, something like that. It's Wind, Psychic, bottom left, bottom right, 1800 attack, but this is specific to Ritual Beast as it requires 2 Ritual Beast monsters. Ritual Beast monsters this card points to gain 600 attack and defense. You can banish 1 Ritual Beast card from your graveyard immediately after this effect resolves. Normal summon 1 Ritual Beast monster. You can only use this effect of Ritual Beast once per turn. Quick effect, you can return this card you control to the extra deck, then target 2 of your banished monsters, 1 Ritual Beast Tamer and monster and 1 Spiritual Beast monster, special summon them in defense position. So nice kind of circle back around for you to kind of get the plays going. Another one that was just announced today, of course, is Zephyr Metaltron. There's a bit disappointed in this one in my personal opinion because it hasn't. It's good for the deck, but I think it could have been better. So what you need to do is, it is a light monster worm. Its link markers are bottom left, bottom and bottom right. It is a 2500 beta and it is a link free, one of the first of the link range sets. It requires 2 or more monsters that were special summoned from the extra deck, which we already know is tough as is. So, if a monster this card points to that was special summoned from the extra deck is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can add to your hand 1 monster from your graveyard or 1 face-up pendulum monster from your extra deck. You can target 1 other monster you control and 1 monster your opponent controls that was special summoned from the extra deck. Banish both targets until the end phase. You can only use each effect of Zephyr and Metatron once per turn. It looks like a bit of a Crystron kind of mix, Crystron Draco kind of clashed together. Anyway, still a very, very cool card. Next up, Aromasphere Jasmine. Light plant, bottom left, bottom right, 1800 attack, and it is a link 2. It requires 2 plant monsters. While your life points is higher than your opponent's, this card and plant monsters this card points to cannot be destroyed by battle, which is very, very nice and protective. You contribute 1 monster this card points to, special summon 1 plant monster from your deck in defense position. You can only use this effect of Jasmine once per turn. Once per turn, if you gain life points, add one plant monster from your deck to your hand. So it's very, very nice, both in row mages and of course any other deck that utilises like Sylvians and stuff like that. Now this is the one that everyone is probably going to be so excited for, and that's Cherubini, Black Angel of the Burning Abyss. It's dark fairy, bottom left, bottom right. Its artwork is absolutely amazing, and this could be bringing BAs back to the meta, and it just lets Dante keep skipping that ban list. 500 attack, requires 2 level 3 monsters, so it's nice and generic. Monsters this card points to cannot be destroyed by card effect, which is very, very nice because obviously we know BAs try to nuke themselves, so it can be quite protective and very, very helpful for the deck. If this card on the field will be destroyed by battle or by an opponent's card effect, you can send one other card you control to the graveyard instead. You can send one level 3 monster from your deck to the graveyard, then target one Burning Abyss monster on the field. It gains attack and defense equal to the sent monster's attack and defense until the end of this turn. You can only use this effect once per turn. So it's very, very nice. It can protect, it can send, it can get the effects off, and it might actually help speed up the BAs, especially under Link format, which is very, very nice. Our next one is Heavy Metaphors Electrium. Now this is very nice because it is quite generic for Pendulum monsters, and it can be used in Pendulum Magicians if they are still around when we get the Link set out. Fire, Psychic, bottom left, bottom right, 1800 attack, 2 Pendulum monsters. If this card is Link summoned, you can add one Pendulum monster from your deck to your extra deck face up. Fair enough. Once per turn, you can target one other face-up card you control, destroy it, then add one face-up Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. So it lets you circle back around. Imagine this, right? So let me finish off this effect. If a card or cards leaves your Pendulum zone, draw one card. You can only use this effect once per turn. So not only do you pop one of your Pendulum Magicians, obviously I know you can do it with your Metaphors as well, but you pop a Pendulum Magician, you get to add back a Pendulum Magician or a Pendulum card from your extra deck back to your hand, get the Pendulum Magician's effect off, and then you get to draw a card as well. What more could you want from this card? It's absolutely amazing. Very, very I highly like it. It's probably my personal from this set. But of course, the next one we're coming on to, Crystron Needle Fiber, is again massively important because it can also help out DDDs. So it is a water machine, bottom left, bottom right, 1500 attack, Link 2. So 2 monsters, including at least 1 tuner. If this card is Link summoned, you can special summon one level 3 or lower tuner from your hand or deck in defense position, but it cannot activate its effects this turn. During your opponent's main phase or battle phase, quick effect, you can banish this card, special summon one tuner synchro monster from your extra deck. This is treated as a synchro summon. You can only use each effect once per turn, so it's very, very nice. It's been used in quite a few decks this moment, or being showcased in quite a few decks, and can take the deck to a whole new level. Okay, so now on to our final one? Yep, our final one of the day, and that is Alistair the Meltdown Invoker, and it is basically as the name says. The artwork is awesome. Obviously the glare kind of doesn't help it too much, but it looks like Alistair and he's kind of transforming, and I think the artwork is absolutely amazing. This is an Alistair and a Meltdown all in one card. It's incredible. So it's a dark spellcaster, bottom left, bottom right, 1800 attack, Link 2. 2 monsters with different types and attributes. 2 monsters with different types and attributes. This card's name becomes Alistair the Invoker while on the field or in the graveyard. If a fusion monster is fusion summoned, you can discard one card, and if you do, add one invocation or the Book of the Law from your deck to your hand. If this face-up card in its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can add one Omega summon from your deck to your hand. So, as you can see, obviously, like I said, the artwork is very, very nice, and its artwork kind of outweighs the effect in a sense, but it's still incredibly powerful and incredibly good card, especially something that we've been waiting for a while. Anyway, so they are the 19 that have been released. We're still waiting on the Ishswarm monster, which could be very, very interesting when it drops. But for now, that is what we have. It'd be very, very interesting to see if a set like this comes back around again for maybe some other art types like Fire Fist, Boujins, Satellanites. And just thinking of stuff off the top of my head, but you know, for now, I personally think Link's Vrains could be one of the biggest sets ever released, in the sense that it just brings back so many old art types and it updates them all. So I don't see why they wouldn't want to do like a Link Vrains 2 and kind of help plug that way. So it could be very, very interesting to see where this goes from here. Anyway, I hope this helps. If you like this kind of style, or if you want me to do more videos like this, or when new cards are released, or just when new Yu-Gi-Oh news hits, you want me to do videos of this, then please let me know. This is my first time doing something like this, so if you do have any suggestions, please let me know in the comments below, and of course I'll adapt and change and try to improve, because that's what I'm obviously here for, and that's what I want to kind of do, and I'm trying to help you guys out as well. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Until next time, guys, as always, happy dueling. If you like that video, why not check out our other videos available? We've got more deck profiles, pack openings, and of course duels. And don't forget to click on the most important button of all, that subscribe button right in the bottom left hand corner.